Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So many of us over decades now, some of us been around that long, have looked at the other countries like Cuba, Venezuela, Gaza, and we were like, how could those people allow that to happen to their country? Those used to be very beautiful, very prosperous places, and now they're not so much. Right? They're communist hellholes. How could those people have allowed that to happen? Now we see it happening here in America. I was like, whoa. So we have, and how does that happen? It comes from the leadership, because the leadership in all those countries basically convinced their people that communism was the best deal. It was the best deal for them because they turned out to be billionaires, like we're going to point out. And it's very, very troubling to see that America is moving down that road very quickly now. And not surprising when you look at the history of like these different groups that have, come in. The Democrat Party basically enslaved itself to this communist mission, and it's no longer the Democrat Party of like my parents or the people that were good. Uh, there's still Democrats who are good. I'm not going to say that Democrats are bad now, but when we look at what has happened to the Democrat Party, they've basically gone full on with the corruption, the left leaning Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and now the guy that's playing Joe Biden. So it's pretty crazy. So let's go back a little bit. Let's look at the Clintons' top 10 pay to play allegations. We're starting to see this is starting to come in again with Hunter Biden and Joey, whoever that is, and we'll look at also you know Gaza, Yasser Arafat. All these people died or were or are still billionaires. They hide that money. They hide that money. So the Clintons have been involved in an elaborate pay-to-play scheme, auctioning off their personal time and government access to the highest bidder. So this was back in 2016. Started talking about this. Number one, Clinton ally aided the wife of an FBI agent who was investigating Mrs. Clinton's email server. So Terry McAuliffe gave nearly $500,000 to the 2015 election campaign of the wife of an official at the FBI who helped oversee the investigation of Mrs. Clinton's email server. So we're starting to see. So I wanted to bring that up first because now we're starting to discover this was also happening with the Bidens, right? So keep that in mind. King of Morocco agreed to donate 12 million to Clinton Foundation to host a Clinton Global Initiative, only if Mrs. Clinton attended a 2015 meeting where he was going to gain favor. Bill Clinton gets $1 million birthday present from Qatar for 5-minute meeting request. And during that 5-minute meeting, what do you think was maybe guaranteed? Friends of Bill, FOB, rewarded at State Department after 2010 Haiti earthquake for keeping their mouth shut while they stole. Crown Prince of Bahrain, a good friend of the Clinton Foundation, sought special access to Secretary Clinton. 6, Hillary Clinton State Department gave Clinton Foundation donors weapons deals. All right, we've heard about these. Clinton State Department approved transfer of 20% of U.S. uranium to Russian government because they don't care where they get the money. They just want the money. To hell with Americans, just like we're seeing in Cuba, just like we saw in Gaza, just like we're seeing in Venezuela. Now Americans going down that road. As Clinton Foundation took in $145 million in donations from investors of the deal. 8, a for-profit university put Bill Clinton on his payroll and received an increase in funding by Mrs. Clinton's State Department. 9, the Clintons have made at least 26 million speaking fees from entities who are top Clinton Foundation donors. And 10, Clinton Foundation cashed in as Sweden lobbied Clinton State Department on Iranian sanctions. So this pay to play continues. It continues now. Shades of Clinton. Joe Biden used private email to send government information to Hunter. And a communications backdoor reminiscent of Hillary Clinton's infamous private server. President Biden used a personal email account during the Obama years to send information he was getting from the State Department as vice president to his globe-trotting foreign deal-making son, Hunter Biden, who was the head of the criminal organization that was bringing in the money. Of course, he whined and bitched that he only got a portion of that. Daddy got a big chunk of it. So funny. All right. Messages sometimes signed Dad from the email account. Robinware. Robin. Like Robin Hood. Robbing from the poor to give to the rich. Were found on a Hunter Biden laptop seized by the FBI in December 2019 from a Delaware computer shop owner. Nothing has ever happened since then because the FBI is corrupt. They're part of the criminal organization now as well. All right, so they need to be disbanded and reestablished in some other form. And I think that's going to happen going forward. So Hunter Biden's artwork, talk about pay to play, is actually good and will be worth a lot. So this is going to be how they funnel money to get pay to play, like the Clinton Foundation. Now it will be this crap that this guy's putting out. So this is the artwork. So this guy, Hunter Biden's artwork is actually good and will be worth a lot, experts say. Experts. Wow. Okay, you guys be the judge. All right. This tomfoolery guy, art dealer Alex Acevedo, was impressed with Hunter Biden's paintings because he's going to get a nice juicy deal every time he sells one. Acevedo said the prices could garner more like $25,000 to $100,000, if not for Hunter's name. The art consultant said he expects some of the works to possibly top $1 million in the end. So here's some more of that pricey artwork there, right? You guys ready to put down a fortune for it? Pay to play? This is how these guys work, guys. So let's look at some more of this. Che Guevara's daughter calls for more repression against low-class Cuban protesters. Low class? I thought in a communist system, everybody was equal. Low class? You're the daughter that works in Havana as a doctor, and you're saying there are low-class people in Cuba? How dare you go against this government that we've created? Low-class people. Cuban Communist Party to enact more violent repressive measures against the thousands of low-class people protesting on the island. So imagine if we continue down the road that we are going on, guys. So me speaking out like this will be completely gone. If I would somehow get this message out right now, there would be like this glass be shattering and you would see me hauled off, right? It would not take long. Guevara, an Argentine-Irish communist who joined Fidel Castro's small group of violent Marxists in the takeover of the country in 1959, served as economics minister in the early days of the Cuban Revolution. He spearheaded programs to build concentration camps for suspected homosexual Cubans and Christian groups, organized firing squads against political dissidents, and openly boasted to the United Nations that the revolution intended to kill large numbers of Cuban people. I guess they're at it again, right? Guess they're at it again. Once they get power, they're going to hold on to it. Just like these people that are in there right now, here in the US. Once they get power, it's going to take violence to get rid of it. That's the way it's going to be. Unfortunate, but that's the way it's going to happen. Guevara remains so popular on the international left that the Cuban exile community often denounces his image and protests against the currently standing regime. Now, I'm not calling for a revolution against the current government. Don't get out of control there. But you know, these things, it's the way they happen. There's There's always, when there's a big change, there seems to be violence. I don't know. And maybe it comes from them as they, solidify their control. Or maybe it goes back against them as that control is broken. I don't know how that's going to work out. One way or another, it's going to be a little dicey going forward. There are things happening manipulated by the United States, Guevara March said of the protests in Cuba. Truly low-class people, people without scruples, have taken to the streets, and so some fools follow. Just like some fools follow people that are trying to put out information about the Jabberdick. The people have reacted very well, and the situation is getting under control. Like most Castro regime supporters, Guevara March also attacked the United States for its ally alleged embargo on the Cuban economy, because we don't deal with, uh, you know, armed countries that go against their people. So if we were to do trade with that country, it goes right to the military, right to the military, right? Oh, right to the military. And I just saw an article in a news report uh, where you might have remembered back when Trump was still there, there was, or you might not, there were soldiers that were going down to the border and trafficking people. So they were coming from different bases. I think one of those was actually in California. There was a California base that was happening in California, I think in Arizona and in Texas. But they were finding that soldiers were teaming up and going to the border and, picking up people that were coming across the border and carting them off in vans to other places. They're getting a lot of money for this. All right, getting a lot of money for that. Uh, I always said there's probably a military, high-level military officer on the side of that, right? So what are they doing now? So now they're openly in Texas taking in illegal immigrants. They're basing them on the base and they're flying them from the base to other bases throughout the country. So they're just bypassing, they're not trying to do it. It's illegal activity that they were doing before and they're getting busted for it. Now the officers on that base, whoever controls that base, is just openly doing it. So now they don't have to pay the soldiers. They just do it because they're ordered to, right? So while footage of protests after July 11th has become difficult to access due to the internet shutdown, witnesses inside Cuba have testified to ongoing marches, as well as mass arrests and disappearances of participants. Human rights groups have confirmed over 500 forced disappearances or arrested protests, a number considered low given how many people without direct ties to dissident organizations participated in the protest and how many blah, 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 blah. All right, so remember that supposed protest that happened on January 6th in the nation's capital? I was there for that, and 99.9% of the people there were very, very beautiful, very peaceful, very loving. And there was obviously, as we're finding out now, Antifa that had infiltrated in and caused problems. There were doors that were open for them, officers that were moved out of the way while they broke windows, FBI involvement in those groups. So there's and a lot of those people are now being sentenced. One Florida man was just sentenced to several months in federal prison. So it's they're picking on Florida quite a bit. Here where I am in Tampa, there's a massive, so they call, red tide algae bloom. All right. So I don't see it out there. I live here. So I go out there. I don't see it. So I know people that have lived here and they say they don't smell it. They don't get it like they normally do when there's a red tide. So why are all these tons and tons of fish dying? Because they want to create a scene. Because a lot of people are moving to Florida because Florida has said that if anyone comes in here and tries to start a riot from anywhere else, You start a riot here, and you're gonna we're gonna throw you in prison. We're gonna throw away the key, pretty much. All right, so they're not putting up with that stuff here in Florida. So a lot of people, patriots and people that are conservative and want to have a good lifestyle and don't have to worry about bad people rioting and stuff like that, are moving to Florida, like myself, from very bad states like California. So why would we want to do that? Because it's much nicer here, conservative wise. So why would they want to drop buildings in their footprint? Why would they want to destroy, the ecosystem? And on top of that, today I saw where over 1,000 gallons of sewage leaked into Tampa Harbor as well. On top of the supposed algae bloom, which I believe is coming from directed energy weapons. All right. So there's a lots of things that they're trying to do here to make Florida look bad. Lots of false flag stuff is going to start to happen, I believe, as we start to move into these guys trying to solidify and lock down their control. Even though they're losing power, they still think they're winning. They still think they're winning. All right. And they will still think they're winning until they're behind bars. All right. Or worse. So here's this woman, Alita Guevara. So here she is with daddy's face behind her. The guy that was the executioner. There she is with a rifle. She was born like a couple months after I was. So about the same age. She's in her 60s. So she is a doctor of medicine based at William Sawyer Children's Hospital in Havana. She has worked as a physician in Angola, Ecuador, and Nicaragua. All right, so she's saying, like she says right here, protesters are low class. Low class. But didn't you guys have that revolution so that everyone could benefit from that? So why are these other people? Aren't you guys all compatriots together? What happened there? Gaza's millionaires and billionaires, how Hamas's leaders got rich quick. One of the mysteries of the current war in Gaza, so this was back in 2014, one of the many wars going on in Gaza, can be seen in the photos coming out of the tiny enclave. On the one hand, there is desolation and squalor in Gaza. So we see the desolation. They're always focused on that. Desolation and squalor. Desolations. Hundreds of thousands of Gazans live in these squalid neighborhoods and so forth. But why are there so many rich tycoons? Filthy rich, in fact. Well, a lot of people give money to the Gazans because they feel bad, because the Gazans are supposedly and are living in poverty and they're oppressed. And the Israelis, it's all the Israelis' fault. So they throw rocks at the Israelis. All right. And now they shoot rockets at the Israelis. It's gone to the next level. And someone is funding all this. Someone gives them the money. So remember when Donald T was in the White House? He basically stopped the funding that went to them, and there was magically no rockets fired. It was amazing. Amazing how that happens. So over time, this one gentleman built a conglomerate of 10 financial operations. They give loans, they conduct investments. He's an amazing financier, right? And somehow he managed to elude the IRS and a trial for his offenses. Some say he made contacts in the administration because people give money. They give money in the US, and he takes that money and he funnels it to his buddies. Today, Abu Marzouk is one of the major billionaires in Hamas, where all these people are suffering. These guys are making billions, just like happens in these other countries, like Venezuela. So remember Arafat? Arafat was always, had the he was scruffy, had his beard, and he looked like he lived in squalor with his people. Wow, he died a multi-billionaire. How did that happen? his wife or wives or girlfriends or whatever, they were all rich. His children were all rich, filthy rich, in fact, where they're all billionaires. So mm, it's amazing. So the Venezuelans, so Venezuelans are, going through that same thing. They're extremely filthy rich. So I show this picture of this one darling. Lifestyles of socialist Venezuela's rich and famous. Hugo Chavez, the leader of Venezuela's socialist revolution, this was back in 19, once said that to be rich is bad. But he was rich, and so were all of his buddies. Last summer, the stepsons of current socialist leader Nicolas Maduro dropped $45,000 on an 18-night stay at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. These rich Chavista kids have also been spotted in the best restaurants and clothes and jewelry shops in Madrid as part of the lavish lifestyle they have become accustomed to, while their stepfather drags their country to its knees in Venezuela. Today, Chavez's own daughters are among those who flaunt their riches as the country languishes in an economic and humanitarian hell that their father's ideology created. So again, he pays the military. So these people that are coming across the border into these military bases, somebody getting paid there? Maria Gabriela, Chavez's oldest daughter, is reportedly Venezuela's richest woman with a personal fortune of more than $4 billion. Billion. Most of it hidden in bank accounts in Europe. The 38-year-old worth $4 billion. Oh my God. Boy, she must be a good investor. The 38-year-old compiled her riches while acting as first lady to her socialist president father after he divorced his second wife. Another of Chavez's daughters, 21-year-old Rosinez Chavez, fled to Paris in 2016, hours after she was blasted for posting a photo to social media showing her holding up a fistful of cash. So there's that lovely darling holding up her cash. It's not that much. It's like ones, tens, and fives. But in a country where $1 is like more than you get in a day, it can probably piss some people off. Right. So that's the lifestyles of the rich and famous on the backs of their people, which is happening here in the US at an ever increasing rate. We'll always have COVID. Wall Street Journal. All right, so I looked at this. President Trump has a blog every day, and he recommends certain articles. So he recommended this. So it says the Delta variant spooks markets, but the vaccines work even if the virus won't go away. Will the pandemic ever end? That's what investors asked Monday as they sold off stocks and rushed into bonds on fears that COVID-19's Delta variant will slow the economic recovery or lead to more lockdowns. Let's hope the political class has learned some lessons from the last 18 months, namely that COVID will always be with us, just like the flu is. Of course, COVID is a Wuhan manufactured flu, the WuFlu, and it's very virulent. It spreads very rapidly, but not much worse than, the flu, guys, because there's like 99.9% chance that you're going to survive it. So, but if you get the vaccination, from what they're saying, you have an even better survivability rate, right? And that we have to live with it without shutting down the economy. So that's from the Wall Street Journal. So another good news, Navy SEAL Eli Crane launches congressional campaign in Arizona battleground district. So I'm being positive now. Eli Crane, a business owner, former U.S. Navy SEAL, announced Tuesday is running to represent Arizona's 1st congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives to unseat vulnerable, Democrat Representative Tom O'Halloran of Arizona. So Crane in his announcement said he literally has skin in the game. We're going to show the video here in a second. For the people of Arizona and America. The Republican has dedicated his life to the United States as a SEAL and eventually grew a business in his state where he employs Arizonans. Crane is a faith-oriented family man and is pro-life and pro-Second Amendment. He says he is unafraid to take a stand against cancel culture and the radical left, which is why he understands what it means to live life as an example to others. So let's look at his video. It was very inspiring to me. I liked it. Let's see what you guys think.
The problem with Washington politicians is they have no skin in the game. It's all about them and almost never about us. Well, I'm not a self-serving politician. My whole life has been about service, family, and community. After 9/11, I served as a Navy SEAL in the Middle East. Then I built a thriving business that makes badass bottle openers and employs Arizona veterans. But the most important mission of my life has been raising my two daughters with my wife, Jen. I'm so sick of phony politicians and their lame excuses, and that's why I'm running for Congress. Now more than ever, America needs leaders with guts and integrity to solve problems. Securing our border, standing up for law enforcement and our military, strengthening small businesses, cutting middle-class taxes, and protecting the integrity of our elections. It's time for we, the people, to take our country back. I'm Eli Crane, and I'm ready to fight for us.
Booyah, Eli Crane. Good luck, brother. All right, so we got some patriots out there to try, are willing to fight for us, right? So let's support that young man. FBI agent in Whitmer kidnap case arrested following domestic incident. Wow. So you guys starting to see what I'm talking about? The FBI? FBI special agent Richard Trask, 39, of Kalamazoo, was charged Monday with assault with intent to do great bodily harm, just less than murder, following a domestic incident with his wife Sunday. So he must have beat her pretty good, almost to an inch of her life, probably. He was released on a $10,000 personal recognizance bond, probably because he got off easy because he's FBI, following an arraignment in 8th District Court in Kalamazoo, and faces a charge punishable by up to 10 years in prison. He'll probably get a little slap on the wrist because he did some good work for the FBI and Governor Whitmer. Right. His arrest comes at a crucial juncture in the criminal case against 5 men charged in federal court. So basically, the way I understand this, so this guy Trask and some other FBI guys got together and, like, you know, drinking beer, talking shit, and these guys from the FBI were like, well, we should do something. And these guys are like, yeah, we should do something. And so they're like coming up with this idea. It's just trash talking, and nothing was ever done. But they ended up arresting these guys, and made a big case of they were going to they stopped them from taking down Governor Whitmer. It's the last thing you want for a major case like this, said Andrew Arena, former special agent in charge of the FBI's Detroit office. Anytime you give the defense any ammunition, it's not good. So any ammunition? So you're trying to say that your boy is good, right? And maybe he made a little mistake here, and it's not good because you're giving the defense a little ammunition. You're bad too. FBI spokeswoman Mara Schneider said the Bureau is cooperating with the prosecutor's office. Trask's job status was unclear Monday. In accordance with FBI policy, the incident is subject to internal review, which will be buried. And I cannot comment further at this time because it's going to be buried. Depending on the severity, it would be a suspension until things are ironed out one way or another, Arena said. So aside from his duties, Trask opened a gym in his rural property on Oshtemo Township near Kalamazoo and offers CrossFit training, according to social media posts and state business filings. So he's like jack of all trades. Does FBI work, undercover work, and has his own business. He's quite the outstanding pillar of his community, right? Other than beating his wife almost to death. So he can't carry a weapon now because that's the way it works. If you are a wife beater, thank God, they take away your weapon and you can't buy a weapon. All right. So if you can't carry a weapon, then you're not going to work as a street agent, Arena said. He's going to be suspended or put on restricted duty, which means he'll still be paid, he'll do a desk job, and still get the same pay. Trask was arrested 1 week after defense lawyers provided the clearest view of how they plan to attack the kidnapping plot case. Court filings revealed a defense strategy that involves suppressing evidence, attacking the work of FBI agents, and claiming FBI informants entrapped men accused in the conspiracy. 5 men awaiting an October trial in federal court in Grand Rapids. The one defendant has asked U.S. District Court Judge Robert Jonker to move the trial out of Michigan, arguing media conduct and coverage had corrupted the potential trial atmosphere, which it definitely has. The rest is the second potential problem in the case to emerge in recent months. In March, prosecutors indicted an informant who sources say helped the FBI infiltrate the alleged conspiracy, a rare legal development. The indictment of Wisconsin resident Stephen Robeson, after a prolonged period of cooperation, suggests the relationship between Robeson and the FBI is destroyed. The prosecutors do not plan on using him at trial, legal experts said. But defense lawyers can try to call him as a witness and attack Robeson's credibility. So what is it about that? They didn't really go into that here. That's interesting. So Robeson was a key person in their case, and now he's not. Gets stinky, getting stinky. China threatens to begin World War III. Oh, well, they did that Wuhan flu thing, and no one has really done anything about that. Well, why wouldn't they take it to the next level? So let's start it. Let's go big. So a video has appeared online that reportedly is circulating among Chinese Communist Party channels in which the repressive regime in the mainland there threatens to unleash a continuous nuclear war on the world. That's kind of what the COVID-19 is. When we liberate Taiwan, if Japan dares to intervene by force, as they said they would, even if it only deploys one soldier, one plane, and one ship, we will not only return reciprocal fire, but also start a full-scale war against Japan, the statement threatens. We will use nuclear bombs continuously until Japan declares unconditional surrender for the second time. Ooh, open that wound. What we want to target is Japan's ability to endure a war. As long as Japan realizes that it cannot afford to pay the price of war, it will not dare to rashly send troops to the Taiwan Strait. So I think they're basically, holding the line while America gets its shit together. Hello, military. It's about time to move on these assholes. So anyway, nearly 60 years have passed since the last nuclear bombs have been dropped. What was that? No, 1964, when our first atomic bomb was successfully detonated. Yes, it's been much longer since the last nuke. We promised the world that we would not use atomic bombs against non-nuclear countries, which Japan is supposedly, and that we would not be the first to use them. Nearly 60 years have passed. Although the strength of our nuclear deterrent has been somewhat effective, this decision has been a success and has safeguarded our peace until when we built our country. All right, they go on to say, but he warned the international situation now has changed because now we want the world controlled. And our country is in the midst of a major change that has not been seen in a century. And all political policies, tactics, and strategies must be adjusted for world domination and changed in the midst of such a major change. The video threatens, in order to protect the peaceful rise of our country, it is necessary to make limited adjustments to our nuclear policy. We solemnly put forward the Japan exemption theory. In modern history, Japan has taken the initiative to harm the Chinese people many times. including the First Sino-Japanese War in 1894, 1895, when it took over Taiwan. It made us pay more than 230 million taels of silver in reparations. And the world invasion of China, 1931-45, when more than 35 million Chinese were killed and wounded. So it accuses Japan of failing to be serious and acknowledging atrocities. And if Japan goes to war with China for the third time, the Chinese people will take revenge on old and the new scores. Woo, boy. Let go of that hatred. Let go of that anger. All right. So there's lots of problems in the world right now. But if we stay in the love vibration, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. And not only does it love vibration keep us out of this negativity and rises above that so that we can have clear thinking, use our intuition to guide us and keep us safe and our family safe, but it also has a counter effect on these negative groups, right? So these negative groups with their extreme evil that they're trying to, basically take over our country and the world, when you use your ability to project your amazing love, your amazing positiveness, uh, it has an effect, right? So I've noticed this in all my travels, and so if you're wanting to, release your own intuition, go to my sites, michaelkjaco.com and unleashingintuition.com, and learn how I develop these courses over time that I use. So I develop them. Uh, so being an expert trainer over the years, and seeing how the mind works, and being among people that were extremely gifted and talented, and learning from them, I now share those skills with you, and you can increase your abilities in every area, every aspect of your life by tapping into your own intuition.